Okay, a survey found 17% of U.S. adults say that Google News is a major source of news for them. You can randomly select 4. So far I have found that my number of fixed trials is 4 because I selected 4 adults. The probability of success is 17%. It says so right there. 17% said that they said yes. Google News is a major source or Google News is not. So maybe you want me to write this down. 4 adults is my fixed trials. Google News is or is not news source. There's 2 outcomes. Google News either is or it's not a news source. And then 17% say that it is. So that is our probability of success. And so if P is 17, Q is going to be 1 minus 0.17. So I believe that's 0.83 because 1 minus 0.17 is 0.83. And then since we only selected 4, the number of people who can say yes, 0 can say yes, 1 can say yes, 2 can say yes, 3 can say yes, or 4 can say yes. We only asked 4 people. So here is problem number 1. Problem number 1 right here wants us to find the probability that X is exactly 2. So you know how to do that. You can use the formula, or you can run over here to StatCrunch. That's going to be my favorite method. If you want to use the formula, you can. And we're going to change the number of people that we asked to 4. The probability of success is 0.17, and we're wanting to know what's the chances of exactly 2 of them. And here is the answer to exactly 2. So I'm going to say, if we keep rounding it to 3 decimal places, and again, I don't know what the rules are going to be on your homework. They'll tell you how to round. But I'm going to round that to 3 decimal places, 0.119. This one's definitely skewed to the right. It's definitely skewed to the right. Okay, so that's that question. The next question is find at least 2. So you have to know what they mean by what's at least 2. So is 0 at least 2? No. Is 1 at least 2? No. Is 2 at least 2? Yes. Is 3 at least 2? Yes. Is 4 at least 2? Yes. So what we're doing basically is we're going to find the value of exactly 2, exactly 3, exactly 4. And we're going to add them together. So I'm going to write down what I just said. I want to find the probability that X is greater than or equal to 2. And I determined that by asking myself, which ones am I talking about? 2, 3, and 4. Well, 2, 3, and 4 are all numbers that are bigger, that's greater than 2, and it's including 2. So the probability of at least 2 is 2, 3, and 4. And so I find that I can do it one of 2 ways. I can find the probability of 2, of X equaling 2 exactly, and then find the probability that X equals 3, and then add that to the probability that X equals 4. So if I filled out that chart, if I filled out the probability distribution, if I did the distribution table, 0, 1, 2, 3, and then 4. If I filled this out, I would simply add those last 3 numbers together. Now you can fill it out. There's nothing that says you can't, but you can also do this on StatCrunch by going to this right here and picking the correct symbol, and it added them together for you. Notice it added the 2, the 3, and the 4 are all red, so it's going to find it for you. So that answer is 0.13, and I'm going to round that to 7, 0.137. Now, that's not finding each one of them. If you want to find, that's what I just did, is I wrote that here. That is the sum of those 3. But to find out what each one of them is, of course, you would go back and do exactly 2. So 2 is 0.119, and then you do exactly 3, and that's 0.016, and then you do exactly 4. That's going to be even smaller. Whew. If I round up to 3 decimal places, it's 001. And then if you go back and add those 3 numbers up right there, we should get that. So let's see if we add those 3 numbers up. We get 0.119 plus 0.016 plus 0.001. Now remember, that's a rounded number. So they got 136. So it's a rounding error, but that's close enough. So if you know how to take what they say, at least 2, and get that inequality notation correctly, then it's just a simple matter of typing it into StatCrunch and writing the answer down. If not, then you can find each one of them individually and try to figure out what it means. But that's what at least 2 of them means. 2 or 3 people responded or 4 people responded. And then fewer than 2. Well, what does fewer than 2 mean? Is 0 fewer than 2? Yes. Is 1 fewer than 2? Yes. Is 2 fewer than 2? No. So I'm talking about for number 3 here, for question number 3, I'm finding the probability that x is less than 2. Notice I didn't put the bar underneath it because I can't include 2, and the numbers that are less than 2 are 0 and 1. That's the same thing as finding the probability of 0. I keep forgetting to put my x in there. The probability that x is equal to 0 and the probability that x is equal to 1. Those 2 numbers are the ones that are fewer than 2. And if you go to StatCrunch and you put this notation in right here, less than 2, then the answer is 0.863. 0.863. And if you wanted to find out, I just wrote that. 0.863. And if you wanted to see that it really was, then find 0 and 1 individually and then add them up. So find exactly 0. Exactly 0 is 0.475. I'm going to round up. And then exactly 1 is 0.389. And so now when I go add those 2 up, 0.475 plus 0.389, I get 0.864. And again, this is a rounding rule because remember, both of these rounded up. So it's a round off error, but it's okay. You won't miss the problem if this is what the answer key has and this is what you put, then you'll be fine. So that's how you use the probability distribution. Now, the very last thing we're going to do, and this seems like the easiest mean and mode to do, because it is just multiplying N, P, and Q together. But this is like the most missed question on the test. I don't get it. I don't get it. And I give you the formulas. I don't even make you memorize the formulas. I give you the formulas. It's even written down and says that it's the binomial, I think. I don't know. I'll have to look. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it doesn't say that it's the mean for the binomial distribution. But still, it's written down. I mean, so, goodness. 56% of the days in a year are cloudy. Find the mean, the variance, and the standard deviation for the number of cloudy days during the month of June. So the month of June, the number of trials is the days in June. 30 days have September, April, June, and November. So June has 30 days. And probability of it being cloudy is 0.56. The probability that it's not cloudy, you might want to write that down, cloudy, not cloudy, is 0.44. 1 minus 0.56 and 0.44. Unusual values, we'll have to look that up. I think it goes back to that. There's a chart somewhere that tells us what's unusual. Let me see if I've got it referenced in here. No, I don't. I'll find it and tell you where it is. It must be, goodness, I don't know. So, mean, find the mean, the variance, and the standard deviation. So the mean of this one is going to be N times P. N is 30 times P, 0.56. That's all there is to it. 30 times 0.56. That's 16.8. Your variance, they don't really ask you for variance very often, but your variance is N times P times Q. So 30 times 0.56 times 0.44. So that's 7.392. And then your standard deviation is just the square root of 7.392. And that is 2.719. So that's all there is to that. That is not hard at all, but it is the most missed question on your next test. I will go ahead and stop this video and look up what they mean by unusual, because they asked me the same thing down here. So I'll look that up and make sure I give it to you on the next video. The next video will be really